Hey guys, so our learning target today is all about setting ourselves up for success for distance learning. By the end of the day, you should feel more comfortable on how you organize your time, materials, classes, and learning space as we do our distance learning. Here are some true or false questions. We're going to go ahead and read them and answer them at the same time, just to keep this video nice and short for you guys. All right, true or false? I only have to log into Google Classroom on the days that I have a required Google Meets. Go ahead and think about it for a little bit. If you said false, that's 100% correct. Remember, you have posts every single day that you need to check in on. True or false? If I have a question about an assignment, I need to come to the school to ask Miss Collins from 3:30 to 4. That is also 100% false. Um, you can get a hold of me a million different ways, and I'll kind of go through that towards the end of this video, but you do not need to come to the school. There's a lot of different ways you can virtually get a hold of me whenever you'd like. There's not a set time limit on it. True or false? I will have a post every day, but not a required assignment. That's 100% true. Remember, the posts that I put on Google Classroom every single day are going to be meaningful assignments or learning activities where it's information that you definitely need to know for a quiz or a test, or you need to practice your writing or critical thinking skills. That way you're making like the appropriate growth for your grade level. All right, today we're going to organize your drive, and I'm going to help you set up your daily schedule, to-do list, so that way you're starting off on the right foot. If you did not complete the legislative branch quiz, remember that's due by the end of the day. That was assigned last Friday. So if you want to double check with me to make sure that you did it, because I know that's a while ago, feel free to ask. And then we have 60 more days to the end of the term. So I was young at one point, and when I was younger, I kind of lived really far away from a lot of people. Like I was 3 miles away from my nearest neighbor. So summers before I had my driver's license was kind of like a natural quarantine. All I could really do was hang out with my brother and my sister at home. So I have some pro tips on quarantining and staying social. All right. I also have some pro tips on staying organized and engaged in online learning. When I went to NDSU, I had to take a few online classes because they literally didn't offer that class at NDSU. So I had to go through other universities to take the required classes in order to graduate. So I have a few pro tips on staying organized while distantly learning. So here is a pro tip, some do's and don'ts. Make sure when you're talking about being organized, or creating your own organizational system, do what you're comfortable with. Like the worst thing that you can do is just copy somebody else's organizational system. You got to do whatever works for you. So some of you might be more of a Leslie Knope, for those of you who are a fan of Parks and Rec, where you like to have a to-do list and crossing things off your to-do list, and you like having hard copies and binders and folders. I'm one of those people where I need to take notes in order to stay engaged, like in a class. So you might be more like Leslie Knope if you're one of those people that likes to cross things off that to-do list. If you know that you're going to lose paper easily, or you like having your phone as a one-stop shop, where you like having notifications and reminders sent to your phone about events like Google Meets and assignments, you might be more like a Tom Haverford. So make sure that you do whatever works best for you, whether you're Leslie Knope or Tom Haverford. Here's an example of what I actually use. Like I wouldn't give you guys something that I don't use personally myself, but this is what I used in college and even still today to keep myself organized. So you might want to have a weekly schedule so you know where you need to be when. Okay, so this schedule would be like things that are the same every single day / week in each of your classes. So you would write down your Google Meets for each block, the days that you might have them. So that way you open this document up in the morning, or you look at this list in the morning and you can figure out which class you have to sign in for a Google Meet for and which one was just a work day. All right. You might want to have a separate list on that same document, or on a different page in your notebook about homework and to do. This would be like things that change frequently. So for example, if I have this DBQ for history is due on Tuesday, I would write that down on my to-do list for Monday. So prioritizing your to-do list by date. Sometimes it might be kind of hard to keep up with your to-do list, so you might want to add like some times with it. So for this creative writing assignment, it's due by midnight. So I know I got to do my math quiz before I do my creative writing assignment because that one's not due till midnight. If you would like a copy of either of these, I have a copy of them on Google Classroom. All right, number 2, don't make your system too complicated. One thing that I did in college, my professor, he did an online class and he organized his materials by week. I was like, "Oh, I'll just copy the professor and organize my Google Drive by week." So I had a folder for each and every week, but it just became way too complicated when I was trying to look for stuff. I had to figure out like what day I took those notes or did that assignment, what week that would be. So don't organize your drive by weeks. Okay, I'm going to show you an example of how you might want to set up your drive so it's a little bit more simple. All right, another pro tip, make sure you type your notes on a single document whenever possible. So that way you can use the Control F key. And that is going to change your life. Like it helped me a lot in college. So let's go ahead and take a look at my Google Drive. So here I have a whole folder for term 2. Within each folder, or within my term 2 folder, I have a folder for each and every class. Within the folder for my class, I have a folder for assignments in that class and notes in that class. You might want to make a copy of your assignments that you finished on Google Classroom and just save them in your assignments folder. That way, if there's any like issue with Google Classroom and your teacher's like, I didn't get that assignment from you, or you turned it in blank and you know that you finished it, you can share that assignment with your teacher instead of having to redo it. All right, so here is why you might want to go ahead and have a single document for all of your notes. I mean, still have a separate page and heading for your notes and everything like that. But for the same class, you might want to have just one document. So that way, if you're ever taking a notes quiz or an assignment where you're allowed to use your notes to find answers, you can hit Control F at the same time. This little search bar will pop up, and anything that I type into that search bar, it's automatically going to find for me. So let's say I'm doing a notes quiz and it says, what's an example of a single issue party? I'm going to go ahead and type in the keyword single issue, or maybe I even type in example. And it's going to automatically find the word example in there, highlight it, and scroll down to it. So I see right here the example of a single issue party is Prohibition Party. Perfect. That took like all of 3 seconds to find. It'll make finding your notes and answers a little bit easier instead of having to look through like 10 different documents. You're just looking through one document. And then make sure you still set aside time to organize your drive. That works really well if you're just kind of stuck or you don't know how to start or you need a break. It just makes you feel like you accomplished something. And then when you go back to your schoolwork, you just feel a little bit more confident or better about yourself. All right, number 4, don't set up your workspace around distractions. I did this last spring where I was like, oh, I'll just do my grading right here on the couch. But then like I turned on Netflix and then I would end up watching more Netflix than actually getting work done. So it took a lot longer to get through the grading because I was getting distracted constantly. Another pro tip, something that I did last spring, is I would accidentally leave my cell phone upstairs in my room when I was downstairs working on my stuff. And then I was actually less likely to get distracted by my phone because I would actually have to like physically get up, walk up the stairs, and go into a whole different room in order to grab my phone. So if you put your phone in a different room, you might be less likely to get distracted by it. All right, pro tip number 5, do allow yourself some breaks. Just make sure you set a time limit on those breaks. So that way you're not like, I'm going to take a break and then 10 episodes later you're still on break. So you could say like to yourself, set your own little limits. Like when I finish this assignment or when I finish these notes, I can play Among Us for 15 minutes. Or when I finish working on this paper for 20 minutes, I'm going to play with my dog for 10 minutes. Make sure that your breaks are proportional to the amount of time that you work. So you don't want to work for 10 minutes and then have an hour-long break. And make sure that you're actually doing something you enjoy in those 10 minutes or like on your breaks. That way you feel refreshed when you come back. All right, number 6, don't completely isolate yourself. I know I'm speaking on behalf of myself, but I'm sure a lot of other teachers, we don't want you to sit there and struggle and try to make things work for like 40 minutes before you come ask for help. If you're unsure or unclear about anything or like a link isn't working, ask right away. Reach out to your teachers. That's what we're there for. And at your guys' age, like your brains are automatically wired to be social individuals as young people. I'm old, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But as young people, you guys are just wired to be social. So this is extra, extra, extra hard on you guys and young people in general. So ways that you can be social while still like working at home. You can, if you have somebody who is in the same class as you that you get along with, you can create a Google Meet, just a private Google Meet between you and that person and work on the same assignment, or FaceTime while you work on the same assignment. And the bonus part about that is it's gonna like maybe help you focus or finish that assignment sooner. Or maybe you and a friend want to schedule your breaks around the same time and watch an episode of a show together and like talk on the phone while you're watching that episode. That's something my friend Cody and I did because we both grew up um, without any neighbors. And so we would watch our favorite TV show, Friends, back when it still aired on NBC. And as we watched, we would like talk on the phone to each other. So just kind of a fun thing to do. Okay. If you'd like a copy of that blank schedule, it will be available on Google Classroom and it looks something like this. You can go ahead and make a copy of it and tailor it to your own needs. If you have any questions or need to check in, remember you can check in during the block on that Google Meet. You can use that Google Meet during my open office hours from 1:30 to 3. If you'd like more of a private meeting, just one-on-one, email me and we'll schedule a Google Meets. If you do not want to do Google Meets, I 100% get it. You can email me, you can call or text that Google Voice phone number. Good luck, guys.